Good evening, everyone. Can those in the back hear me? Yes, wonderful. I'm Juels. I'm a faculty member here at Cornell Tech and a co-director of IC3. And I'd like to welcome you to our inaugural IC3 NFT event. We have a program of 7 short talks, but I'm going to take a little time before those talks to tell you what this event is all about. When we first started planning this evening, frankly, we were a little worried. We thought, maybe 20 people would show up. Who's going to turn up at some informal academic event on NFTs? As it turned out, we had about 400 people request tickets for the event. And we had to turn away a lot of them to ensure that everyone could fit into this room. You're the lucky ones. Welcome and congratulations. This is unfortunate in a way, but I think it speaks to the incredibly broad appeal of NFTs. And just how broad is that appeal? There are a couple of ways of characterizing it. I think everyone here knows the line from the Sinatra song, if you can make it here in New York City, you can make it anywhere. What does making it here in New York City mean? I think the ultimate mark of having made it in New York City is appearing in Times Square. Here's a montage of Times Square from late last year. This is during a conference called NFT.NYC. It's the premier NFT conference. Every one of these electronic billboards is advertising an NFT project. This is one way of measuring the broad appeal. Another is to note that the NFT market, in terms of volume, approached that of the global market for fine art in 2021. Now, of course, the market has come down significantly, but it still amounts to billions of dollars of NFTs sold per year. All of the major auction houses for fine art, Sotheby's, Christie's, and so on and so forth, have embraced NFTs. Consumer companies like Starbucks, which made an announcement over the past week, are making use of them. They're a cultural phenomenon here to stay. Why is that? Why are people interested in NFTs? There are a few reasons. One of them is pretty superficial. I'm going to talk about that one. And one is more substantive. Let me talk about the vanity application first. NFTs solve a fundamental problem. That problem is, how do you signal wealth and status? Suppose that you're the young founder of some tech startup, young millionaire, and you want to show how much money you've made. How do you do it? Well, the old way would have been to drive one of these into the parking lot of your startup. The problem is, these days everyone's on Zoom, and it's pretty hard to squeeze one of those Maseratis onto the shelf behind you to show it off during a call. Right? So there's a problem here. Here's the solution. The new way to signal wealth looks like this. Let's deconstruct it. This is a Twitter profile. The hexagon here indicates that the possessor of this profile owns this particular NFT. This is one of the famous Bored Apes you've heard about. That NFT, even in the depressed market we're experiencing now, is worth about $100,000. This particular person is signaling that he owns 53 of those. In other words, he's worth about $5 million. Okay, this is all well and good. This is the vanity application. That's not why we're here tonight. There are other very good reasons to be intrigued by NFTs. One of them is that NFTs can empower artists. How is that? We've spoken to a number of artists who say that before the advent of NFTs, they were unable to make a living. They couldn't sell their digital art. Now they can. They have a technical means and a marketplace whereby they can sell their work. Second, very nice feature of NFTs, at least the way the infrastructure is built now, is that artists can receive money not only at the time that they first sell an NFT, but when future sales occur. They can collect royalties. Right? This is almost unheard of, at least in some markets like the United States. NFTs have brought this about. And in principle, and this is something we're going to talk about tonight, NFT platforms enable artists to determine who buys their art, dictate the nature of the consumer, the community they want to build, and how art purchases are made. for instance, what the sales price can be. Some artists don't want to see sales prices get jacked up indefinitely. Another reason NFTs are of real interest, they solve the problem of provenance, or at least they solve it in many cases. Let me give you an example. Steven Spielberg is an avid collector of works by Norman Rockwell, famous for the Saturday Evening Post works there, and for paintings of Middle America, that type of thing, very popular artist. Well, Spielberg discovered in 2007 that one of the paintings in his collection was stolen. It had actually been stolen 2 decades before from a gallery in the Midwest. As it turns out, stolen art, fraudulent art, and misattributed art is rife in the traditional world of art. But because NFT creation events and sales are recorded on a blockchain, the provenance they come with is essentially ironclad. It's very hard to falsify these things in a blockchain system. You can in some cases, but as I said, it's hard to falsify. Yet another reason, the final I'll enumerate here, is that NFTs are going to serve as a foundation for metaverse goods. What I mean by this is that when all of us eventually migrate into this thing called the metaverse, unclear what it is, what it will be, but when all of us migrate there, what form are our personal possessions going to take? A good candidate is NFTs. And in fact, NFTs are being used today to sell land in the metaverse. There's even been, try to wrap your mind around this, a boom in virtual real estate in the metaverse. Facebook has renamed itself Meta in a nod to the importance of the metaverse, and NFTs are a key component of their strategy. Okay, this is the why. Let me tell you about our program tonight. It's a truly interdisciplinary program in which we're going to talk about NFTs as art, we're going to talk about legal aspects of NFTs, and we're going to talk about the science behind NFTs. After I finish, Mukti Khair, my colleague here from Cornell Tech, who's an expert on entrepreneurship and creative markets, has written a book on the topic and a primer on NFTs, is going to address the ever-contentious question, are NFTs art? Then my colleague James Grimmelman, one of the leading scholars on how the law bears on software, is going to talk about NFT licensing and its challenges. And I would also recommend the excellent blog post that he co-authored recently. My colleagues Fernanda Viegas and Martin Wattenberg at Harvard, experts on information visualization and machine learning, and digital artists in their own right who have displayed works in museums around the world, are going to deliver a talk entitled The Aura of Ones and Zeros. I have absolutely no idea what they're going to talk about, so I'm really looking forward to their presentation. My colleague Itai Ayel from the Technion is going to talk about wallet technology, the technology that's used to control the keys that in turn control NFTs. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about keys and NFTs in just a few minutes, their importance. But of course, this wouldn't be a gallery opening if we weren't displaying NFTs. You will have noticed as you came in, at least most of you will have noticed, this giant glass panel now illuminated in one of the front windows of this building. We commissioned that from a glassblower named Jason Mack some years ago, huge, heavy thing. We're displaying NFTs on that piece, and Phil Diane, a PhD student here about to graduate, will tell you about the genesis of this panel, which he co-designed, in fact. We're displaying NFTs on this panel, but we're not just displaying any NFTs. We're displaying 3 important types of NFT. The first is an experiment in psychology. The other 2 reflect some of the cutting-edge research that we've been doing at IC3 and here at Cornell Tech. All right, let me talk first about the experiment in psychology, for which all of you have volunteered to participate without knowing about it. Thank you very much. We refer to these as anchored NFTs. What does it mean to experience a physical work of art? Like, why do people flock to see the Mona Lisa? Well, one reason is they want to appreciate the technical virtuosity and the emotional content of this piece. They want to see how Da Vinci rendered the famous enigmatic smile. They want to appreciate his masterful brushstrokes. But these people are not appreciating Da Vinci's brushstrokes. If you actually go to the Louvre, you're going to be hard-pressed to see this painting through the 10-foot thick protective wall of tourists that you see here. So why are these people there? Why are they so eager to see this piece? Why are they photographing it? They're experiencing a phenomenon that psychologists often refer to as contagion, an unfortunate term in light of the recent pandemic. But the idea here is that when you have a physical encounter with an object that is famous or important in your view, or a person, it rubs off on you in some way. And it can have a transformative effect on your life. Many of these people will remember for the rest of their lives that they were in the same room as the Mona Lisa. The question is, can you replicate this experience with a digital work of art, like an NFT? After all, most NFTs are just digital files that anyone can download and view on any device. Like this NFT, one we're displaying this evening, you can download onto your phone, and you can view in more or less the same quality that you'll see it on our display. So it would seem like a meaningful physical encounter is impossible. This thing is disembodied in cyberspace. But is it? Here's what we're doing. We have this NFT displayed on our gallery panel. An important thing to remember, I mentioned a little earlier, is that NFTs are controlled by cryptographic keys, so-called private keys. What we've done is we've taken the private keys that control these NFTs and we have embedded them in hardware wallets, these physical devices. The key for this NFT is in a wallet that we in turn have mounted on the display. What this means, and we refer to this, by the way, as an anchored NFT. What this means is that when you stand in front of the display, you know that you are in physical proximity to the very key that controls the NFT. And as I said, there's only one such key in the world. To put it another way, the only place that you can essentially view this NFT in person is here, on this campus, in front of or inside this building. So we think we can replicate some of the psychology of physical encounters with works of art. We have 4 rare and historical CryptoKitties presented on this display. Yes, we do. Let me introduce them to you briefly. This is Eon Cat, who represents a historic collaboration between Dapper Labs, the creators of CryptoKitties, and a project called Gods Unchained, a popular NFT game. Boot, who was specially created to celebrate the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. And then these 2 guys, each of these is a unique CryptoKitty. Only one has ever been minted. Koshcat and Volcat. Volcat was exactly the 1 millionth CryptoKitty to be generated in the CryptoKitties game. We got these CryptoKitties on loan. They were generously loaned to us by Dapper Labs, the creators of CryptoKitties, and by Eric Oversoy, the largest collector, leading collector of CryptoKitties in the world. He has 250,000 CryptoKitties. Thank God he doesn't need to provide food and kitty litter for those CryptoKitties. So again, when you view these CryptoKitties on our display, you're essentially viewing them in person, in the sense that I described. Okay. That's the psychology experiment. I also mentioned that we're showcasing some of the technology we've developed. 2 special types of NFT. The first is what we refer to as atomic NFTs. And these relate to the problem or question of fractionalization. It often happens that when an NFT is expensive, it's subdivided into shares. And those shares are sold to a community of holders. This may be good, it may be bad. We'll talk about this a little later. Atomic NFTs involve a new cryptographic technique that prevents fractionalization. Atomic NFTs can't be fractionalized. And Kushal Babel will give a talk explaining the why and how of atomic NFTs. And we're displaying some atomic NFTs on the display I talked about a little while ago. The final type of NFT on display reflects work in a project called Candid NFT. Right? And this addresses the problem of NFT scalping. NFTs are often released, sold in large events. These large events, as many of you know, are called drops. So for instance, a group of 10,000 NFTs will be sold in one drop, one sale, as it were. The problem is that scalper bots, special pieces of software, can buy up these NFTs before humans can. If there's a popular drop, what will happen is that some bot master will launch a bot, buy up all the NFTs, and turn around and sell them at a profit. Right? And this isn't fair for anyone. This happens with NFTs, and also, by the way, happens with things like sneakers and concert tickets and so on and so forth. We've developed a system called Candid NFT that prevents scalper bots. In a prototype, we used Candid NFT to conduct a fair raffle, one that excluded bots, for this NFT, created by a very well-known digital artist by the name of Zach Lieberman. And Yen Ji, another PhD student here at Cornell Tech, will talk about Candid NFT, explain how it's constructed and what we did in this little experiment, this raffle. So I encourage you, either before the reception if there's time, during the reception, or afterwards, to step outside. We can't let you into the room, it's still under construction. But step outside and view this panel. Meet the CryptoKitties in person and see the other NFTs. If you're interested in learning more about our work, I'd encourage you to visit the IC3 website. We have a number of blog posts and pointers to papers on NFTs. And I want to remind everyone, before I forget, that there's a reception at 8 with food and I believe an open bar. So stick around for wonderful conversation and comestibles. Finally, let me say that putting on even a small informal event of this kind involves a huge amount of legwork, especially creating those atomic NFTs. I would like to thank the IC3 staff, students, and friends who helped make this event possible. A couple of these students stayed up all night, actually, working on this event. And I'd especially like to give a shout out, I don't think she's here at the moment, but especially like to give a shout out to Juana, our tireless admin who handled all the logistics for this evening. I hope you find this evening interesting and instructive, and most of all, I hope you enjoy yourselves. Thank you.